A sad day for Manchester City fans as Sergio Agüero has confirmed that he is leaving the club at the end of the season. The club's all-time leading goal scorer. What a magical player to watch. An absolute bagsman, one of my favorite strikers of all time, just because of his clinical ability. He was always there for the big moments. He scored goals left and right, just any way you wanted them, he would get them. So we're going to go ahead and look at his career at Manchester City in this special edition of The High Press with Conor Robinson. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special edition of The High Press with Conor Robinson. Of course, it is me, Conor Robinson. We have a lot to talk about with the announcement that came in the past 24 hours that Sergio Agüero, club legend for Manchester City, as you can see, I have the 82 throwback kit on. He is leaving at the end of the season. So the end of the Sergio Agüero era is upon us, and it's bittersweet to say the least. But before we kick into all that, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to Down the Block Sports so you never miss out on any of our exclusive content. Why don't you leave a comment below? Tell me what your favorite Agüero moment is. I know I have quite a few. And for any real football fans out there, the 2012-13 season with Martin Tyler's commentary at the final day against QPR, what that moment would be. So let's go ahead and kick things off. Sergio Agüero joined from Atletico Madrid in the region of £35 million in 2011 to Manchester City. A club legend. He worked hard over the past decade to get there. 4 Premier League titles, an FA Cup, 5 League Cups. He is the highest non-English goal scorer in the Premier League. He has 257 goals in 384 appearances, all competitions. He has the record for most hat tricks in the Premier League with 12. I mean, realistically, any superlative you want to give this guy, he has it. He's an absolute bagsman, one of my favorite players to watch. There was a lot of concerns when Pep came in that he wouldn't be able to mesh because he wasn't hardworking up front, but then he kind of changed his ways. Injuries have slowed him down quite a bit in the past few seasons, but I don't think that tarnishes his legacy at all. It looks like the reports have come out. He is moving on. You haven't confirmed where he's moving to. Reports are most likely back to Spain with Barcelona or even maybe Atletico. Maybe Atletico lets Luis Suarez go back to Barca. Who knows? It's still kind of all up in the air, but really one of my favorite players, one of the best players of the past decade in the Premier League, arguably the best striker in the Premier League at his height. He won the Golden Boot in 2014-15. He was a player who just absolutely scored left and right. Realistically was good for 20 goals a season in the Premier League, unless he got hurt, which there was always a chance he would. But really one of my favorite players, like I said, a player of the decade for sure, along with David Silva. It actually is coming out that a statue of David Silva, Vincent Kompany, and Sergio Agüero is going to be built in front of the Etihad. So a nice send-off for them. There's also going to be a mosaic made for them. One thing I do have to applaud Manchester City for is how they treat their club legends of the past decade. Yaya Toure was an exception to that rule, of course, but they're building a statue for the right players. I think Yaya Toure could have had a little bit better of a send-off. I think just him and Pep clashed too much, but I'll do a video on that if you want. Make sure you leave a comment below. Tell me if that's something you want me to go into. But with Agüero, Premier League Golden Boot 14-15, most hat tricks in the Premier League with 12, PFA Team of the Year twice, highest non-English scorer in the Premier League's history. Really, the list goes on and on and on. This guy was an absolute bagsman. He's just had injury problems. He's 32 now. And it's sad to say that he's going to be leaving Manchester at the end of the season. I've grown up watching this golden generation of City players with Vincent Kompany, Joe Hart, Yaya Toure, David Silva, Agüero, And really, there's going to be a void now. It's going to be hard to fill that void. I know that reports are saying City are eyeing a bid for Erling Haaland. They're looking at Harry Kane. So, I mean, obviously, they have the resources to get someone in the door. It's just, will that person become a legend? How do you follow up a legend? You have to have someone who can become a legend in their own right. And I think it's going to be incredibly difficult to get someone to replace Sergio Agüero. I mean, it's just, it's tough. A tough day for the blue side of Manchester for sure to hear that he's going to be leaving. Um, some of my favorite moments, I'll just kind of go into a few of those moments. Hat trick in the Champions League group stage against Bayern Munich. That was when Pep, I believe, was at Bayern Munich, I want to say. 2014-15, I believe it was. Absolutely unstoppable. And that game, he really showed Europe that he was not just a good player, he was an excellent player. Obviously, for everyone who's watched any sort of soccer highlight of Martin Tyler and his commentary, the goal against QPR with Balotelli passing him the ball and Agüero, the huge, you could add a million O's to it, but really one of the best moments. I remember watching that. That was right when I was getting into soccer, and I remember watching that goal happen. And when they were explaining it on the television, I was like, this team hasn't won in 40 something years, a league title. They just, this is like their highest point in 40 years. What's going on? Like, what's the history of this? And I really fell in love with the sport that way. And honestly, I mean, it's tough to look at your club and you see your legends go. I mean, we've seen so many great players retire over the past years. Xavi, Iniesta. Although I think Iniesta is still playing, but Xavi leaving Barca, Iniesta leaving Barca, Puyol leaving Barca, Ronaldo leaving Real. Ramos is kind of getting up there. Iker Casillas, Gigi Buffon. I mean, there's a ton of players. David Beckham has retired in the past decade. Ryan Giggs has retired in the past decade. Paul Scholes. I'm not a big Manchester United guy, but I will, say that those are legends of the game. Frank Lampard. There's so many players of a high caliber. Clarence Seedorf, Ronaldinho. Really, there's so many players, and it's tough to see your generation of players kind of retire and go out of the picture. But there's always someone new, right? We have Kylian Mbappe, we have Erling Haaland, we have all these young players. Phil Foden is someone I'm very big on. I'm very excited to see how that turns out. But enough of all that. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Gracias, Sergio. You've meant the world to the club. You becoming the all-time leading scorer for the club, passing Colin Bell. Really massive. And from the bottom of my heart, I said this when David Silva left. Gracias. I said, gracias, David. I'm going to say, gracias, Sergio. Memories, great times, bad times. We had ups and downs of the club, but Manchester City and every single Blue fan out there, every single football fan out there knows that you are one of the best strikers of the past 10, 15 years. So with that being said, gracias, Sergio. And we're going to wrap things up there. Make sure you like this video, comment below, tell me what your favorite Sergio Agüero moment is. Make sure you tell me what you think of Sergio, how you would rate him in the all-time Premier League players. And, of course, make sure you subscribe to Down the Block Sports. Never miss out on any exclusive content. We have a lot of guests coming in the near future, so make sure you are locked into that. Thanks for tuning in, and have a wonderful day, evening, night, wherever you're watching this. Gracias, Sergio. Have a nice day.